And we are back answering your questions about evictions and protections and the HOPE program help. We have Haley Pfeiffer Haynes here with the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency. That's with the HOPE program. We have Holly Owner from Legal Aid of North Carolina. Hey, Holly, this person says, I've been put out and my landlord won't answer the door so I can get my things. What can I do? What are my rights?
Call Legal Aid. Call Legal Aid of North Carolina. There are certain rights that a person has. It's for a pretty short period of time, so contact us immediately.
Mm-hmm. And Legal Aid of North Carolina often gives help and guidance for free. So when we're telling you to call Legal Aid of North Carolina, we mean that so that you can get that free help and you can talk to a lawyer and at least know where you need to go, what you need to do. All right, this person is saying, not so much a question, but tenants need to understand that although the moratorium protects for non-payment of rent, it does not protect for other reasons such as violations and end of lease. And a lot of people are also asking, can the landlord raise the rent?
That is going to depend on what the person's lease says. And there are a lot of complicated nuances about what types of evictions are allowed right now and what aren't. So again, that would be a time that I would say contact Legal Aid of North Carolina. Our services are free to those who are eligible. And I believe our contact information is available.
Mm-hmm. All right, this person says, when will 211 and the HOPE program approve rent payments paid to the landlord?
So those payments get approved once the landlord and the tenant have signed the landlord-tenant agreement. And in that agreement, there's an agreement to take the funding and pay the rent, but also that the landlord will not evict for some period of time. The way the program is right now, they have to not evict for 90 days after the end of assistance or until the end of the lease. And so we'd have to get a W-9 from the landlord, but then at that point it gets processed for payment and goes out to the landlord.
Mm-hmm. This person is saying, what protections or help is out there for the landlords who desperately need tenants' money? And Haley, you were talking about how the COVID relief bill might actually have something in there for that specifically.
Right. These rent assistance programs are going to landlords. And so the money is going to replace the rent that hasn't been paid. So the HOPE program is already helping landlords by paying rent on behalf of renters who aren't able to pay. And future programs will do a similar job. One of the interesting things that has come out of the federal government, though, this time, is that if a landlord declines to participate in the assistance program, then that program can pay directly to the tenant. So the tenant cannot not be assisted because a landlord will not participate.
And that is a big change from what was happening the first time around with the HOPE program.
Correct.
So we'll see if
right now it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We'll see if all of that kind of goes down the line as, again, that COVID relief bill is 5,000 plus pages. And so as we start sifting through more and more of it, we find out more and more specific details on this. Now, if someone is saying that their landlord is threatening to evict them and they don't know what they should do, Holly, when they call legal aid, what are the first kinds of questions that you're going to be asking them so that they won't be thrown off?
All of the initial contacts with legal aid comes through our central intake unit, which is a group of lawyers who are able to make that initial assessment about whether people are eligible for legal aid assistance, whether they have a legal issue that we can help them with. And then once that determination is made, then a referral will be made to the local office. We have offices all across the state. And so depending on where the person resides, that person will be sent to a local lawyer in their county.
Mm-hmm. And then, on the other side of this, we're getting the question of what protections are in place for landlords, because they're asking too, they also have to pay bills.
Well, and so the rent assistance program is money that goes directly to the landlord. Right now, we are paying the full amount of rent that a landlord charges. And so by participating, you are getting your revenue replaced.
And Holly, I know we were talking about this in the break. If a tenant hasn't asked Salvation Army for help, a landlord can't ask for it, but what can they do to help spur that along?
Yeah, I don't know specifically about each rental assistance organization, but my understanding is that most of the places that provide financial assistance will only deal directly with tenants. A lot of tenants don't know that they're out there. They don't know that they're eligible for help. And so to the extent that landlords want to help their tenants and want themselves to get paid, they can look to find out what their local rental assistance agencies are, what the application process is. It can be really burdensome about getting documentation together, getting access to a printer and a scanner, et cetera. And so to the extent that landlords can assist tenants in doing those types of things, that could go a long way with getting the rent paid.
All right, and someone wanted to know, can a landlord call the HOPE program to make sure that money is going to be coming to them? Can they call 211?
No, I don't think so, because that's giving out information about a file that they're not a part of, but their tenant should be able to tell them. The tenant will have a letter saying that they have been found initially eligible for rent, or they may even have a rent award. So they should be talking to their tenant.
Okay, I appreciate both of your time in answering the questions kind of all over the board of what can happen, what will happen, what might happen. So thank you for that. If you've been watching and you want to see if your question was answered, or if you're looking for that CDC declaration, if you're looking for a legal aids number, 211, we'll be posting that shortly along with all of these interviews, and they'll be on WFNYnews2.com. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. We're going to be right back. We're kind of changing gears here, and we're going to talk about being on the naughty or nice list when it comes to the city. We'll talk about that next.